I want to talk about these protests going on right now in Iran. I think we should be really cautious with how we approach them. Now, I think one thing you need to understand is that Iran is the only country in West Asia that is supporting the axis of resistance against Israel's genocide in Gaza. They are, of course, supporting the Houthis in Yemen, resistance groups in Lebanon, as well as those in Gaza and the West Bank even as well. And without Iran, without the current government of Iran, Israel's genocide, believe it or not, would even be far worse. Its expansion into Syria and Lebanon would be far worse. One of the few things that's holding Israel back from engaging in even further atrocities, believe it or not, or taking over all of the Gaza, or for instance, expanding further into Syria and Lebanon, is the fact that Iran has the potential to resist that. That's why they're always complaining about Iran. So when you see then these protests going on, and even some Western leftists supposedly get excited about this, we should be very careful, of course. I think the best analogy I could make is, think about, for instance, World War II and how horrible the Holocaust was, the genocide of Jewry in Europe, of course. And imagine if during the World War II, for instance, there were protests in, let's say, the Soviet Union, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, or in France, or in England, right? Or any of the other Allied countries. Now, we wouldn't have to say, oh, well, the Allied countries are perfect, there should be no protests. No, the Allied countries, many of them were literally colonial powers, of course, right? And I'm not saying Iran's a colonial power, but of course, Iran, like any other country, has its issues, has its problems. Often they're quite serious problems. But at a time where there's a genocide going on, to support movements that could seek the toppling of one of the few governments that's resisting genocide, I think that is something that we need to be extremely careful of. Yes, Iranian people have the right to express their grievances. Yes, they have the right to organize. And yes, they should demand more from their government. But to just outright and uncritically support this at a time when there's a genocide going on, I think all of us need to be a lot more careful about this. Thank you so much. I'm curious what you would think. Please leave a comment, like, share, and hopefully things end up being fine in the next couple weeks. Cheers.